Magic versus miracles. Are they really so different? Hello, my truth-seeking friends. Today on Unleashed Spirit Tribe, we're going deeper into something that challenges how we think about faith, power, and divine connection. And more importantly, what does that say about the power living in you? Let's go back to the source. Genesis chapter 1, verse 31. God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was not only good, but very good. Not just the good parts, everything. That means the dual nature of things, light and shadow, cause and effect, action and reaction, were all seen by him, and still he called it all very good. So, what is magic? Magic is when you know something, you understand it, and you can apply it fully in the knowledge that you have using the earth's resources. That is deliberately to produce a result that you want. A miracle. What is a miracle? A miracle is when you make a request. You wait, you hope, and if the divine being is favorable toward you in that moment, then maybe, just maybe, a miracle can happen. One is an empowered action, the other is divine intervention. But here's the twist. Both come from the same source. Have you ever thought of that? They're both from the same source, yet one has a good connotation, the other has a bad connotation. It's just verbiage. Let's look at the Bible itself. Is there magic in it? This will shock you. Absolutely. Take Moses. God gave him instructions for testing adultery in women. The priest was to take a clay pot, some holy water, and dust from the tabernacle floor and mix it up. Then he gave them to her to drink. And if she's guilty, her belly swells and her thighs rot. If she's innocent, though, nothing happens. Now, wait just a minute. That's not just symbolism. That's an earth-based formula that produces a result. That, by definition, is magic. But the Bible doesn't just stop there. Jesus did magic too. He spat on the ground, made mud, and applied it to a man's eyes. And he said, "Go wash in a specific pool." And that man came back seeing. Now tell me, what is a miracle? Was it what Jesus did? We're told that it was. You never hear Jesus saying, "Father, should I help this guy?" No, Jesus took the initiative, did something himself, which was spitting on the ground, making mud, putting it on his eyes, telling him where to go, where to wash. Was that a miracle or was that magic? Or was it a man so filled with God that the natural obeyed the spiritual within him? Well, let's keep going. In Exodus, bitter water becomes drinkable when Moses throws a specific piece of wood into it because God told him to. Later, Moses is told to speak to a rock for water, but instead he strikes it and the water still flows. Elisha sees an axe head lost in water. He cuts a stick, throws it in, and the iron floats. No prayer, no delay, just knowledge applied in power. See, many of us believe that a miracle must be granted. But what if the miracle is really just applying what you already know and what's already in you? Jesus said, "I do only what my Father tells me to do." But we never once see him pausing to ask permission to heal someone or do something miraculous or with magic. Why? Because what was in him was already aligned with the Father. The Father's goodness living in him was the only thing that could flow out of him. That was his divine nature. So it's what came out of him. So let me ask you, what flows out of you? Fear, doubt, or goodness, godliness, and confidence? If you can't do the things Jesus did, then you don't have the juice that Jesus had. But I tell you the truth, you cannot give what you do not have. And if the Spirit of God lives in you, then goodness is the only thing that will come out of you, that can come out of you. Goodness should overflow without you needing to ask. Let's talk about Saul in 1 Samuel chapter 28. Saul is desperate. Samuel is dead. Saul's facing a huge enemy. In fact, it's ultimately going to claim his life. But Saul consults a medium, a witch, at Endor and brings up Samuel from the dead. This is going to fascinate you. Get this. It works. It works. Samuel comes up, his image comes up, and he gives Saul the truth. But most sermons I've ever heard focus on, Saul got in trouble. Saul did get in trouble, but Saul didn't get in trouble for what you think Saul got in trouble for. What Saul got in trouble for was not for bringing Samuel up from the dead. Saul got in trouble because God asked him, "Is there no God in your country?" Is there no God in your area that you would consult this foreign God? That's why Saul got in trouble. Not because he actually knew how to bring up Samuel or actually could bring up Samuel for knowledge and information. God's asking him, is there no God in Israel that you would consult this other being outside of Israel? In other words, the issue wasn't the act, because God made the act. God knew it was possible to consult the dead and get information. And he made it all and called it all very good. So Saul got in trouble, but it wasn't for consulting the dead. The power was always there. But God's question is, why didn't you come to me? Friends, listen closely. You were given power at creation. In fact, you would have to have been given the power because God said, be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, and subdue it. He gave you 4 tasks. And without that power, it's impossible to do those tasks. The word subdue means to bring under control your environment, your reality, your world, bring it into goodness. That's a mandate to act, not just to wait. God doesn't want children who beg for crumbs. He wants sons and daughters who know what's inside of them and use it to build, to heal, to transform, and yes, to do magic. Here's what I'll leave with you. Miracles happen when God does something for you. Is it possible that you take something to God, God wants to help you and decides to help you? Yes. Is it possible that if you bug God forever, remember this, Jesus told the story of the unjust judge. The judge says, even though I neither fear God nor respect man, I'm going to help this woman because she's driving me crazy. Would God eventually help you? Yeah, possible. But magic happens when you've learned how to do something that God has already put into place in his creation. You've used the knowledge, the instruction, the magic, the power of the earth, the resources that God has already put into place. Magic is what God wanted for you to do all along. He wants you to understand, to duplicate, and to steward his creation like him, for him. If you're godly, then what comes out of you will reflect God's heart through you. And that's the point. So stop waiting. Start learning. Use the resources God made and dominate creation in his name for his glory. Ultimately, you'll get glory too. You'll get the credit because you're actually being a proper steward of it. That's it for today. This has been Unleashed Spirit Tribe. If this resonated with you, like and subscribe, will you? Follow the link. We've got a community on school. If you're ready to leave behind the confusion and reclaim your spiritual authority you were meant to have with power, because you were made for action, let's walk in it. Until next time, my friends, stay blessed, and we'll talk to you soon.